Disney enters into the 80s with Fox and the Hound, which released in 1981, starring, of course, a fox named Todd, a dog named Copper, and their beautiful lifelong friendship. We're going to talk about it right now. Hey friends, my name's Tim. I talk all things Disney, which includes Walt Disney Animation. I'm going to talk about the good, the average, and the bad of Fox and the Hound, give you my overall thoughts and final rating. Without further ado, let's dive in. That's good. I want to start this review by talking about the score. I usually don't take time to talk about the music specifically of these films. A lot of them do have solid music, but this one is very different. It has a kind of southern Appalachian sort of twang to it that is really, really nice, and it just adds a very unique sound and perspective that we don't have across many of the other Walt Disney animated movies, so it adds just a little uniqueness to the film. Of course, it wouldn't be complete without talking about the animation. Now, obviously, there are a few instances here where the animation could be a little better, and I think part of that is just maybe technology reasons, maybe budget. I would say budget gets just given this current era of Disney films we're in, but animation overall is pretty solid. There is more like watercolor, or at least that's what it seems like in some backgrounds, which I find to be pretty cool. Either watercolor or kind of airbrush, I don't know, but it's less defined in its backgrounds, which I think does pretty well for the story, but also services because budget cuts. But the characters, they look great. Their designs are really, really solid, very fun, feels very Disney, which is great. Of course, we got to talk about our two starring characters, Todd the fox, Copper the dog. This relationship between these two is really, really cool. It's very wholesome, it's very sweet and genuine, and I think it's really cool that you get to see kind of how friendships change during different seasons. We see the relationship and dynamic shift between Copper and Todd throughout this entire movie, and it is cool to see their friendship change. On that level, it's very relatable for us, the audience, especially if you have a childhood friend. I mean, I think a lot of us do, but one that over time things start to shift. I wouldn't say it's as dramatic as obviously Fox and the Hound is, but it really is just such a beautiful tale of friendship, and it is highlighted by these two characters, and it's done very well. Plus, the character designs here look really, really great, and voice casting wise, they did a pretty solid job with Mickey Rourke and Kurt Russell as well.
Something good, something bad, bit of both.
I want to talk about the side characters here real quick. You have Big Mama, Dinky, and you also have Boomer. They're all pretty cool characters. They all help to obviously progress the story and add a little bit of humor, namely talking about Boomer and Dinky. Of course, have a little fun side story with the caterpillar Squeaky.
Okay, Boomer, we got him trapped. Let him have it.
And it's pretty nice. It adds a little humor to otherwise a pretty somber story, so that is nice. But again, they're mainly here just to enhance the story, to push it along forward. Particularly, that's majority of Big Mama's role in this film. They're nothing spectacular or amazing, but they are pretty decent. And speaking of characters, let's talk about our villain. Amos Slade is pretty decent. He's not like the most outright villain of the story, but he is, of course, the primary, I'd say, villain, antagonist kind of character in this particular film. And so he's okay. He's not fantastic by any means. If you do a ranking of Disney villains, he's not going to be in your top 10, top 15, but he's decent. He's pretty average at best. I do like, though, however, he is redeemed in a sense at the end of the movie, which we don't really see a bunch of villains have that sort of thing, especially over the last few years where a lot of it has been they appear to be the hero and they're actually not. Psych. That more twist villain This is kind of done in the opposite, which is pretty neat, but again, he's not a spectacular villain by any means. Another part here is the songs. Of course, it wouldn't be a Disney film without having some songs. The Best of Friends is easily by far the best in this series of songs, this collection of songs, so to speak. If I had to put it in its own category, I would say it's a really good song. I thoroughly enjoy it. It's fun, captures the essence of the film, but the rest of them are kind of decent. They're not spectacular, they're not wonderful. Goodbye May Seem Forever would be the next best one, but even that pales in comparison to the Best of Friends song. It just okay.
I have a really bad feeling about this.
If I had to gripe about really anything, it's that this story is really tragic. And that's not a bad thing. Sometimes you need tragic stories to either share about someone's life experience or just to share a story. But I think the problem I have with this is that the happy ending doesn't feel like a happy ending. It just ends. Now, obviously, the story starts pretty tragically and it ends pretty tragically. If I had to kind of joke at the midst of the next several Disney films and even looking back at The Rescuers, Disney's kind of in their like depressing era, because Rescuers was pretty depressing and this one is pretty depressing, and Black Cauldron, which will be next, is also pretty depressing, but that's just depressing for other reasons, which we will talk about in that review. But that's one of the things I kind of remember with this film, even when going to rewatch it for this review, was that this is a pretty somber story. It's not, happy-go-lucky, jolly as previews or the posters may make it seem. It's pretty sad, and it's just not something you would expect from Disney. But because of its somber nature, that's one of the reasons why I go back to some other Disney films. I'm here to enjoy and to have a laugh and to smile, and this doesn't really feel that way in any shape or form. It's not to say you can't have tragic moments, but you need to balance it. A balance of the good, a balance of the sad, balance of the laughs, all creates a beautiful story, and I don't think it is as executed on the good side as it is in talking about its sad moments.
And so our journey comes to an end.
Overall, I enjoy this one for the most part. You have, of course, a really great song in this one, but the rest are pretty decent at best. You have some pretty good characters, of course, the standouts here being Todd and Copper, respectively. And on top of that, you do have just a really great story of friendship. I wouldn't say in terms of like Disney and Pixar, they're the best dynamic duo. There are much better ones, and we'll see some of those as we get into the Renaissance and a few other eras of Disney. But this is a really solid story of friendship, and it talks about just the different seasons of being friends, and I think that's really cool to see. So overall, I give it a 7.7 out of 10 with a fun factor of a C+. That's what I'm gonna go with here. And again, like I said, it's pretty enjoyable, but it could definitely be better. But those are my thoughts, so let me know yours down in the comments below. Let's chat all things Fox and the Hound down below. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Let's chat down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. I greatly appreciate it. Helps me know what you like, what you don't like. With that being said, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. I truly appreciate it. If you want to see more Walt Disney animated reviews, there's one suggested right over here. It's the most recent one that we've done so far. That is available to you there if you want to check that out. That being said, see you all in the next one. Have a magical day, everybody.